This is verbal laxative bonus with the verbal laxative reserve crew because the main crew is still away. And here's the bonus episode. We got Sinzin, Bryan, Billy, and Adrian filling in for Hassan and Jason. Now, let us begin the bonus.
Yeah, so we were trying to stick with the Halloween theme here, and then we started talking about
any kind of theme.
So we were talking about high-budgeted porn. So what was it, Adrian?
Pirates 2: Stagnetti's Revenge at $8 million for a budget.
That's pretty high for a porno, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
The next
million?
highest was
High
the
quality.
original Pirates at $1 million.
Like you pay 8 times.
This is production, not their earnings.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Well, they don't have a box office. It's not like it's like appearing in all major theaters near you.
You would. What would the seating be? You would have to like set one away.
Well, one away, that's comfortable for you?
I'm just shaking up the economics, Billy.
I would think that you would need like those couch seats, and then everyone needs their own couch seat.
I don't want to go watch a movie and Brian's jerking off.
No, what you have to imagine
Why
is
not?
who sat in this seat before you.
Yeah, they are the queen.
What if, what if they offered you like sanitizing wipes for your seats?
So they give you they should give you like that rain poncho that you
Oh, like in American Psycho, where you
Yeah.
got like the rain jacket.
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
Are
like,
you allowed to
rain
bring your
poncho.
own blacklight?
Why would you want to? You don't,
Ignorance is bliss.
you don't want to see any of that. Just go there, do your stuff, and
You
leave.
know what I mean, the whole
No,
thing?
see, you bring the blacklight so you can sign your name, right? So
Wait,
next
would
time.
people
No.
Would they make a lot? Cause like, would people just leave once they're like done, or would they like stay for the end?
I don't know. That is your choice. That is your choice.
Cause like you can make a lot. Like,
Well, I mean-
if like not everyone finished the showing, you could
I
just
mean,
like,
some
oh.
people go once and they're done, right?
if they spent $8 million, you would assume they have an actual writer, right? Like there's an actual clear plot line to this. Like maybe it's like a masterpiece and we just don't know.
They get the writer
But
for
wait,
Sakara.
I guess
and then the porno of the music, the same. They get this. Oh,
I guess the real question is how much $8 million actually get you? Like,
A lot?
What
Well,
is,
this was 2005.
No, like I mean, there's films that like are hundreds of millions of dollars, right?
yeah, but that's like CGI.
But they're
and
usually like
shit.
independent film, and there's like not too much like the
Like,
actors
are
are usually
B-
very unknown and stuff, right?
Are B-rated films like $1 million or what? Would they cost?
Some of them. Depends on how you look at it.
some can be,
Yeah.
some can be fairly expensive.
$8 million B-rated film.
But usually, usually like these B movies, they're all like privately funded.
Mm.
So no one really knows.
I would assume a lot of it goes to the stars and the actresses or actors.
Production. The producer is just going like, I'm just banking on 8 million people watching.
I bet they just have. I bet they have a very small editing staff.
It just ends up on Pornhub, anyways.
Yeah.
They don't-
How do they actually earn money if it goes to Pornhub?
Pornhub has this thing where it's like if you're like a producer or an exclusive member, I think you get paid for. It's kind of like how on YouTube you get paid for it as well.
Mm.
There's ads on Pornhub too, right?
Mm.
So like if you're if you're like Pornhub exclusive, then yeah, I guess you get paid as a content creator. I know all this.
For no particular reason. There's no reason that these
he actually
websites
works
exist.
for Pornhub.
No, I watch a lot. Like they also have like you pay extra for like a Pornhub like
Membership?
premium membership, and premium membership lets you watch the 1080 movies, right? The highest you can watch for free is 720,
Right.
and then you can go 4K with Pornhub.
What is
That's
wrong with 780?
It's not 4K.
Stop yapping on watching that big
How can-
screen TV, Billy.
How can you
Sorry.
appreciate the cinematography in 720? It's a long shot.
Actually, that would be interesting if they did one shots. And they're like, oh, we didn't get that. Could you guys do that again? Let's reset everyone.
Well, I think they do that. In
Yeah.
porn, they reset people like
I'm pretty sure
again.
they do.
They do that.
Yeah.
Or else why would fluffers exist?
What is fluffers?
I'm just gonna have to say you should Google it one day.
I want it in detail.
I
in
feel like-
detail. Right now.
All right, Adrian, explain it in detail.
Is this
Oh, okay. So Brian, so you're accepting the idea that in porn that maybe they had to do multiple takes, right? But during these multiple takes, there's gonna be times where these guys maybe not as hard as they should be.
they're flaccid.
Yes. So what do? Do you just get someone to, I don't know, help them along?
That position.
So you're it's like warming up a car.
Well, except
Warming up a car.
how it's
I
like
don't
the more
understand how your mind works.
maybe like lubricating an engine, I guess. Is more what it should be.
So, explain exactly in very specific detail what the fluffers do.
Is that like usually an intern position?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, if you want to make it big, you gotta make them hard again. I'll teach you how to make them hard. Use your soft.
Right after casting couch, they go for that position.
Then you gotta ask yourself, are fluffers usually girls or are they usually guys?
Depends on preference. It's one of those days when you just show up. It's like, fuck, it's a guy.
The veteran guy, he's fat. He's like 200 pounds. His boss smokes a cigarette on set. And oh, he's soft again. Oh, jerks off the guy. I don't know how he does it. He's really good.
Got nice.
Yeah,
Such soft hands.
it's all by technique. This guy is all skill.
Actually, we wouldn't be able to say if it was just hands.
The interview session would be interesting. They were like, "Oh, can I see your hands?" And then it
I don't know.
was, would they do a skill testing? Like, would they like?
jerk them off, right?
Yeah, it's like here's what do you call it, those sand timers? They like flip it over and then you have like.
Get me hard with this amount of time. My best guys can do 5 seconds.
4.8, not bad, not bad.
You get one guy that rips your dick off. No, but you would think.
Yeah,
you
the
would.
best guys just got all these calluses on their
They just
so rough. It just adds to the taste.
You
It's
think
like
it was good?
rib for your pleasure.
Hard ass callous head. You're getting jerked off by like a brick.
By sandpaper.
Just, what are these cement hands?
Wow. I've never been felt like this. He steps back on set and his dick's just shredded. Wow, that was fantastic.
Oh,
yeah, this
how
is
did we
Rubel
go
Latsu.
well, I'm just, I was just, yeah, it would be a pretty bad job. I don't know. How would you advertise that on like monster.ca?
How would you advertise it?
Yeah. How would you put a job posting for that?
Well, you would sell
Good
it
with
like
your hands.
you would sell it like a production, like looking for a production assistant to do shoots on a low budget movie.
Yeah, no
And then like
fucking
under
shit.
requirement to be like soft hands.
Yeah, and then
Preferably.
you would be like, yeah, looking for big biceps, soft hands, kind of thing.
Wait.
Do you think the off-hand model, the hand model on his off days just goes like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be a fluffer.
No, because that would ruin their hands.
Oh, but no, it's getting lotion the whole entire time. Or lubricated.
Well, it could be a conflict of interest. Like maybe they're like, oh,
They're not unionized.
Oh yeah.
No,
What
I
if
don't-
someone recognizes the hands?
hands, yeah.
What if like you show up in like the
You
background
don't get
of
to
a scene?
see the fluffer.
Well, I know, but what if you see them in like the background of the scene, or like in one of those like behind the scenes shots or something like that, and then like one of those like model recruiters like looks at it and it's like, wow, I recognize those hands. Like that's a very distinct like fingernail bed right there.
But yeah, like
And then fire.
those type of commercials, they are union, right? And if you go into a porn thing, you're breaking union laws by acting in somewhere else.
Is that acting?
Well, you don't have great hands, but you give a good blowjob. That'd be okay too, right?
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure it's fine.
Okay, I'm pretty sure the fluffers back then used to be a lot more women than guys. But anyways, they're saying in the Wikipedia article like fluffers, you don't really need them nowadays because now you got like Viagra and shit. So yeah.
Well, they just pop a bunch of drugs.
Yeah.
But how about like the lights, those flashlights and stuff? I guess do they use that too? Or?
I guess, but like if you're not gonna get hard when you're fucking an actual woman in the scene, I don't know if the flashlight is gonna work. Maybe it's just because they're camera shy, but then they shouldn't be doing porn anyways. That was the
worst is like during the climax and they fake it.
That's what
How
really
do
gets
you
you,
can't
right?
fake it for a guy. I mean, shit comes out. You
Well,
can't fake it for a guy.
no. Sometimes they just like they pretend to like cream pie them or whatever, and then
They cut the
He-
scene
he's
and
the-
it
he
squirts
knows
something
it.
inside of it.
He knows it.
Squirt, man.
I don't even know how to continue on this.
You know that? Oh, Brian.
Brian's just like, I know they're lying.
It's like I feel like this is not genuine.
Your porn is just the dude cream pies into the other dude, isn't it?
Oh, he did say that he prefers biceps. Big biceps, soft hands.
Not that I prefer it. I'm thinking like as a position, you want them to have that strong endurance.
Okay. Marathon runner.
For excellent cardio. Soft hands and big
Because you don't know
biceps.
like how what's the hours of a fluffer like?
Just during the shoot.
Yeah. So
Like,
those
how
shoot-
long could a shoot really last, right? Like, they'd
I
have to be
bet
out of
they're
date
about
for
like 2-3 hours.
I would say like 8 hours is like the absolute.
Yeah,
max.
8 hours probably. Be
Yeah,
With the
it'd be
exception
like
of
a
maybe
work day.
pirates.
No, it'd be like a work day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It is a work
because
day,
usually
so-
like they can fly a model in, and then they have 4 hours with her, and then they be done. And then like the 4 hours before.
I
you
think
would
it's
set
more
up,
than 4 hours, to be honest, because
should
like,
be.
like the whole
when
like
I
well
s-
if it's like a 40-minute scene, you think
no,
4 hours not enough.
no.
Well, you do makeup and shit. and
Yeah,
all that
it's a
stuff.
lot. It's not just makeup for the face; it's a whole body makeup.
Yeah.
That and like literally the girl. Like I watched this. I don't know why I watched it. Don't ask me. I watched this thing. It was talking about porn actresses and how some when they do certain scenes like anal, they would have to not eat for like 24
Don't
hours.
they need
or
like an
something.
enema?
Yeah.
They would have to clean it out, obviously.
Clean it
but
out.
then they would have to not eat for a while, and then for a lot, like a whole entire day, and then they would have to do like a scene, and there'd be like a huge ass scene, and then they'd be literally almost dead by the end of it, right? And it's just
Oh.
like
They're
Well,
like
not
physically
literally
tired.
almost
just
dead.
yeah, no, but okay, not literally.
Interview life.
Sorry, okay, not literally, but they would be like
Figuratively.
I don't know. Okay, I was just gonna end it there.
They're exhausted. It sounds like it's hard work.
You should try it. As the catcher. as the fluffer himself. Bring back the old profession.
Honest, hard-working man.
So is there like a
There's
fluffer
not enough jobs anymore.
So is there a fluffer strike at the Viagra store, like the pharmacy? Like we want.
No,
our jobs
I
back.
think usually the fluffers they could just they're by themselves. I think they can be porno stars, actresses. I guess. I don't know. It's like if you're. I really don't know. I don't know anything to
So,
say anything.
If
You're asking the wrong people here.
So
None of us has done this job.
All right, so in porn, a lot of people pirate it, right? And
Oh, yeah.
they found a way to monetize it. So why is music having such a difficult time? Why can't they figure it out like porn did?
What do you mean they found a way to monetize it?
Well, they monetize it enough that they don't complain as much as like the music industry does. Like they always.
Well, the
have-
music
no,
industry
well-
doesn't like they do a lot of live shows now to compensate for that shit, right?
Right.
Like, well, they got their sales, their royalties on whatever iTunes, whatever site that you can buy their music. But I think they do instead of CD sales making up the bulk, it's performances. They go on tour and that's where they get the
Yeah,
bulk.
the tour definitely seems to be the new way of them making income.
Well, it was
It was the
both
old
back
way.
then.
It was
It was
the old
both
way.
back then, but now it's way more. Like,
Right.
There's also the fact that more or less piracy goes down as the convenience of accessing things goes
Yes,
up, right?
yes.
So you have like services like Spotify, like Apple Music and stuff. They make those things convenient for people to get access to, right? So
Yeah.
you can go into Spotify, you click on a song or whatever, it'll pay the guy like 0.000000.
and it costs less now too because it's going like straight. It's basically like going straight to you. Like you don't. It's not like like a CD label that has to, you know, fucking I don't know the whole ins and outs of that thing, but it seems like you could just put your songs on iTunes and you just sell it that way. You know, it cuts off a lot of stuff.
Oh, I see. So then, because porn is so accessible, then that's how they make their money, I suppose.
I think they make most of their money if you're. No. Like the big studios, they use, you gotta have a porn subscription to that shit, right? And then difference between usually the pirated ones and the non-pirated ones, the actual ones from the studio, they do it high quality and shit and whatnot, and they have to like basically give you your money's worth of your subscription, right? The smaller ones, they can sell their individual clips. If you're like amateurs, you can sell it on these sites like Clips for Sale or whatever, or like Pornhub. It's just like Pornhub basically is just going on YouTube for porn, right?
Right. Wonder like.
But then like this goes back, but in the previous episode, if anybody's listening to that, when Bryan just basically went fucking all out for punishment, this is a good example of why that doesn't work if you go for extreme punishment. What they did back then, remember, they tried to shut down Napster. They tried to like scare everybody not to pirate music. None of that shit worked. It only worked once, like Adrian said, they made it really convenient. Made it like not even that much of an obstacle for you to buy the music, right? It was so cheap. You could buy your individual song. You could just have it downloaded right after you buy it, right? And it's just by one click of a mouse. At that point, people were like, you know what? I'll just get it on iTunes instead of like fucking download MP3.
But then there's another debate that I heard about. Is I guess the question is Netflix destroying movies kind of thing by the means of they're earning money, but they're kind of going against the not going against, but they're kind of not earning enough money for the big theaters kind of thing. Because like theaters.
Oh, you mean the theater? Yeah, the theaters.
The theaters earn more. They're kicking more people out of the jobs kind of thing.
Well, even music is following similar suit, right? Because as Zinzin was saying, it went from CD sales to like digital downloads, and now people aren't really downloading anymore either. We're just streaming it through systems like Spotify.
Yeah,
there's
Yeah,
situations
but they're
that you
making
still
money
have
off
to
of your
download.
Spotify.
Right, but isn't Netflix also? They're not paying movies the same way.
No, he's thinking more like movie theaters. Right?
Oh, theaters.
The theaters
okay,
itself,
sorry.
yeah.
Got
So
it.
less people are watching in the theaters, and more people are just watching.
Well,
No, I think that's I think it's a result of people just being more informed because of obviously the internet, right? So like you look at a movie, you look at the ratings, you're like, yeah, that's what I want to watch, and it hit my target for.
Yeah, but
whatever
now
ratings,
they
right?
can't make enough money to make those big budget movies, right?
I think they still do. People go out to the theaters still to watch the big budget
In Canada,
movies.
yes.
Yeah, and plus like
But we're
the
talking
way they
about,
do
like,
it.
entire world, they're just less.
I think-
No,
you're-
because usually even for the Netflix movies, most of the big ones, they come out in theater first. Like Avengers comes out in theaters first, right? It's the studios' right to release their movie first, and then afterwards Netflix has to buy that right to stream it, right? So in those cases, like usually the studio still has the say in how they want to sell their movie, right? So it'll show up in theaters, it'll show up in the big screen, they'll make their money, and it'll stay that way for a bit. And then by the time it goes on to Netflix, like that, it's like like one of those old blockbuster movies. That's the time's passed, and now you can rent it. Well, back then it was rented, you could watch it at home. Well, now you can watch it on Netflix at home, right? And then I guess the Netflix originals, still like they come out with some good ones sometimes, but it's just, I think it's just another method. I don't think it's going to really displace the big theater titles, but it'll make them. I guess it's just another way of competing, because
the other thing is when Amazon doesn't compete against the TV shows and stuff like that.
yeah,
Because Amazon, they make their own shows, I believe, right?
Yeah.
But then they also post it on they wait till it actually shows on TV.
Do they actually make shows yet?
Well,
They're
American
making
Gods.
shows.
Or they
American
sponsor-
Gods
yeah, they
is
sponsor
a-
That wasn't Amazon, was it?
I think
It's
maybe
Amazon.
I think they maybe sponsor
when on
shows.
Twitch you see American Gods being
But that's also on
advertised.
AMC, right? Am I correct? Or
American God.
yeah.
don't know.
I don't know
Okay,
if I
but
know it's hosted on.
What
Amazon.
I've heard is Amazon does it another way. They put it on a TV show, and then they wait until that plays before they actually have it on Amazon. And then whereas Netflix just goes straight ahead.
Well, actually, no. Netflix is doing the same. If you look at the Flash CW show, they have the recent season.
And Riverdale, right? I think they started doing
And,
that with
and Riverdale as well. But the Flash is also doing that now, where they show it on TV and then they also stream it on the same time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Netflix is that.
Either way,
Yeah, Netflix does that.
Either way,
Amazon doesn't do it at the same time. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, they do it later.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Sorry.
either way, it's gonna happen because the old ways of producing these things and basically making money out of it is changing with the way society and technology advances
It
more.
seems to be changing to more convenience.
Yeah, so people, either way, when something happens like this, if you're part of the old established interest, you gotta change along with it, right? Like, if people were, if for the music industry, when it was much easier to just get MP3s and shit, instead of buying the whole CD. If you're the company that said, no, I'm doubling down on just fucking CD sales and hopefully, we'll hammer hard against the people that just, pirate the music. You're done. You're out of business by now. You didn't change, right? You didn't change to meet the new realities. So, like, if the movie studios start to take a hit, then they, I think the ones that actually survive, they'll make that change to survive, and they'll try to do better. Hopefully, that's what they should do if they want to live, right? Cutthroat capitalism.
Yeah, I think the money is still there. It's just that it's being distributed differently.
Either way, they have to change anyways. If people are just streaming more instead of going to theaters, then they have to look at that and be like, oh, why is this? Well, you gotta do something. You gotta change something now. You have to do like a 180.
Yeah.
But I don't think people are still going to the theaters just for the experience, right?
Yeah, theaters could be more novel,
Yeah.
right? Like they could have like dinners, they could have better seats.
It is. The theater
also
provides you
way
something.
more expensive.
They,
But
in some
the theater
sense, they
provides you
have to
something
be.
that you can't have in Netflix, which is like a fucking huge ass screen on the wall, right?
True.
With all the surround sound and everything.
Because they're not selling you the movie anymore. I think they're
The
selling you the
experience.
experience. They're
And then
trying
people,
to do a different market.
like people want to pay money to watch the big budget CGI movie in theaters because that's like, okay, so they could say that's the best way to experience it. The sound is the top quality. The screen is the biggest screen. You're not gonna get this in your house on Netflix, right? So they're selling different
Like
experiences.
before movie, people used to go like live performance theater, right? And usually those were like experienced, and they're very expensive. Like people dress up formally and things like that.
Yeah, and people still go to plays, right? Like
Exactly.
like the theater hasn't really.
It has died.
It has not.
You have
Okay,
to admit
it's
that.
not. Okay.
Has it died though?
Well, no, not dead, but it's died, right? I mean,
No,
less.
it's arguable because the plays still have a lot of prestige in them, especially
Agreed. Yeah.
especially in Europe, and you're not getting paid like insane movie star pay, but back then when the plays were all the fucking rage, you weren't getting paid like that either, right?
Right. Last weekend I went to Theater Calgary, and it was packed. Actually.
Yeah, people do come out to still see plays. It's not like a dead art. That's what
no,
I'm saying.
I don't think it's a dead
Right.
art. I just think it's not as popular as it used to be.
Well,
That's a good thing.
Well, like if you're comparing it to when we didn't have technology.
Yeah, the only thing
Yeah,
I
when
can
it was
see,
the
yeah.
only way you
okay.
could watch a play.
Okay, I get it.
But there are.
Like that's a symptom of the times.
Yeah. Like back then, to watch news in North America, especially during World War II, you had to go to the theater to watch news.
Oh,
right?
this is before radio.
That was this was after it. Like radio, you can only hear shit. If you wanted to see newsreels, footage of like whatever, like what's going on, you'd have to go to the theater to watch that. You know, you'd watch the newsreels at the theater, and that's what people would go to the theater to watch fucking news. And the news theater, they would organize it so the whole newsreel will have as much shit that you can put for one session, right? People don't go to the theater to watch news anymore, obviously, right? But you watch news at home. And I would say before like most recent years, the news was making a killing just on cable TV, like cable networks and whatever, right? So, movies kind of are. I can see them going kind of the same way. You go to the theater for the experience. You watch Netflix at home for the convenience.
Like another industry that kind of had this change was handhelds. Like when you think of Game Boys, think of PSPs.
Yes.
They all died because of mobile phones. Because everyone played games on their phones now.
Well, people are still buying like those DSs, right?
They're buying Switches.
Yeah, Switch.
They're buying Switches, but Switch is more like
It's like
console-ish.
It's like a hybrid.
But it's not
console,
it's not
whatever.
dedicated handheld anymore,
Like, yeah, people aren't getting Game Boys and shit because you can just have that on your phone.
Yeah, like mobile games change everything for a lot of the gaming industry.
Yeah. So, like,
The
if you're
worst.
Nintendo, you're not gonna invest in. So you're not saying I have a visionary Game Boy idea, you know, for whatever. It has, you know, they're probably gonna double
I
down
think
on
what
Switch
may
and
be
stuff.
visionary. Well, actually, Amazon's kind of doing that, consuming everything.
Yeah, which is crazy because where they started too, like they just sold like used books or whatever,
Yeah.
Just books in general, wasn't
or
it?
books in general, and
Yeah, books.
no one thought they'd become the king they are now.
Oh,
Well,
here
they
you
have
go.
music too, don't they?
They do everything. A big one is I don't think many people know is they do clouds. They have a lot of server storage and stuff.
Yeah, and that's gonna be
Like-
pretty profitable.
Yeah, AWS is Amazon something. But
It's so weird though because like Spotify and Netflix still do better than them. Well, not better, but like on par, right? I mean, they're so big, but yet, you know, they're not.
are you comparing to Amazon?
Amazon. That's
Amazon-
only
Like
one.
Amazon's so big, right? But then if you think about it, they have music and they also have movies. But somehow Netflix and Spotify are still like doing really well.
Netflix and Spotify, they're concentrated, whereas
Yeah.
Amazon is very diverse, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
it does
Yeah, but
deliveries.
why is that a bad thing? Why
Oh, it's
I
not
get
a
a
bad thing.
subscription for Amazon and I get all these things, right?
Well,
But I still don't. I have Spotify and Netflix.
suppose these other things they might have stuff that Amazon might not have, right? Like Netflix usually has a bigger selection to watch rather than Amazon does.
But you would think
Well,
Amazon.
actually,
would have
Amazon
more
has-
No, Amazon doesn't really give a shit because they are huge, right? They make money all over the board, and this is just one of their things that they're trying to get into.
But they also own like Twitch.com, so they have a lot of different programs if you
yeah,
consider
like
everyone
Amazon
who streams.
The,
you
the
know?
way it's going right now, in 20 years, your police force will be the Amazon police force.
Shit, I would like to be defended by. Amazon.
I don't
you'll
think
have
so.
like your own city.
I wish it was just like the Amazon.
No, you don't.
Like the actual
No, you
Amazon
fucking
they'll be
don't.
holding spears.
Oh, I see. I thought he was like, oh, I want the private police force. So it's like, oh, please pay your fee of $5 for the police. It's like one of those ANCAP
No,
fantasies.
like Marvel Amazon.
And then the cop himself, he has to put in a quarter to make the sirens run for like a minute.
What if the cops showed up at your door? It's like, ooh, your Prime.
Yeah. So the SWAT team doesn't show up if you're not a Prime member. It's only like a patrol car that comes. And he may or may not come in, right?
It's like, oh, you don't want the premium. You should have bought the premium.
Yeah, they're like, we'll help you, but you would have to.
By
upgrade
then they'll
first.
come out with the titanium, and then they'll come out with diamond and all that other stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Diamond. Your
Can you
Diamond
imagine you're
membership.
in an emergency?
Every call, it's like first 3 calls you get instant SWAT response. After that, you'll have to pay for SWAT response for a monthly subscription. Yada yada yada. And it's
Gold
like,
and above, you don't even hear the ringtone.
Yeah.
It just goes right
yeah,
through.
it's just like some fat guy that just wanders up. He doesn't even have a real gun. He's just, is everything okay? No, I'll put it in a report.
That'd be interesting because now we're talking about prioritizing emergency calls.
No, it's a bad idea.
like somebody who has a fire and then they don't get the same service because
I don't
some
think
other
the
guy.
government will ever let that happen.
No.
No, I don't.
No.
If they did, it would be pretty hilarious.
Yeah, you want to move away from that country.
We can't afford our own security.
Amazon's doing a better
Well,
job
actually,
than
some
anyone
African
else.
countries can't afford they do get like private security force. Like, fuck, what do they call them again? Private military. I don't know, but there's like private
but-
military companies, private security companies that.
Canada from First World don't do that. It's kind of
Mercenaries, basically.
Well,
Hire mercenaries.
wasn't it like in ancient Rome they had to barter with the firemen basically when they came by? It's like, you guys gotta put out the fire, and they're like, well, how much are you gonna pay us?
Yeah, and then they watch
Well, that doesn't
all of
even have to
Rome
be
just
ancient
burn.
Rome. Like I've heard of stories of corruption usually.
Wait, see, that's corruption. In ancient Rome, that's just how it works.
That's just normalized corruption.
Like, okay, well.
No, that's just how they decided to do things.
Jesus.
I heard stories from my dad when my dad was little. He was in Hong Kong, and when his aunt needed to go to the hospital, the ambulance came, and literally they looked at her and they're like, "Oh, she looks really heavy," and they'd stick out their arm.
Their hand.
They'll be like, "Where's the money?" You know? It's like, and then you put money in there. He's like, "Oh, I can lift him up now." Right? So that's how it used to be, and that was just normalizing corruption, right? So. Yeah.
The golden times, would you say?
When Amazon rules.
Yeah, this is why fucking like some people are just way too free market. Like they get such a boner from this stuff. They're like, that would be the fucking dream to live like that.
Yeah, because the rich people would be like,
Oh, they fucking love
like,
it.
someone would get hurt and they didn't even pick up the phone yet, and they'd be there.
Yeah, that's why you pay to have your own police force.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're rich, you love it. Fuck. I think, oh my god, can you imagine if like the fire truck, like the water hose was metered, and then
Just put in money.
it's like a car wash, right? Like you use the exact same technology as the car wash.
You'd be like, honey, we need more change.
Yeah, no, I got the Visa. You know, like you have the credit card swiper for the hose as well. It just keeps on charging you. Like
That'd be hilarious. You have to call Visa and be like,
To
oh,
what
yeah,
point?
every 50
To what-
liters, like your dollars just go.
I need to
going
up my balance.
And that's why he's like, you know what? You can stop. Like that part doesn't matter. Like
No.
I can't afford it.
To what
Just
point
let that
of
part burn.
to what point of the fire you're gonna be like, it's gonna cost more to save. Like I'm
Yeah.
gonna put more money into this machine to keep the water going than to put out the
fire.
just let it burn.
The
He's a
Amazon
fireman.
firefighter,
He's
yes.
like, he comes up to you. Yeah, I advise you not to save your house. Better to get the insurance
Yeah, you
payout.
shouldn't have got the pay as you go. You should have gotten the monthly plan. Where
The unlimited gallons.
Captain Obvious. Do you not want to put out the fire? It's like, yeah, you're gonna need the premium, man. I'm
That's
just
why
here.
your house is burning down. You're like calling your insurance company. It's like, so can I up my insurance like right now?
I'm sorry, sir. You can't do that.
we can't do it when the fire is happening.
It's like, sir, is your house on fire? No. It is most definitely not on fire. I would just like immediately my insurance to go up.
Why is it house on fire, not fire on house?
What?
You know.
Oh my god, you're going the water
What?
is wet.
No. Like the house is on.
Sometimes I feel like they should just they should put you somewhere. They should lock you up somewhere. So you
You
can.
guys have all heard of that, like water is wet.
Yeah. Water's wet. Okay, wait. Actually, explain your case.
Oh,
Make
I was
your
just
case.
saying, like a fire is usually on something, not this thing on the fire, right?
Something's on fire.
Like you're saying the house is on fire, meaning
Okay.
the house is sitting on the fire. Versus the
No,
house
like
is-
in this case,
No,
you're thinking like literal. You're literally thinking literal.
But like on fire describes a state of
Yeah, yeah.
like you're on fire. That doesn't mean you're on top of fire. That means any part of you can be on fire. Like your hair, your arm. Like it's just a state of being, of existence. It's on fire.
Imagine Nero was like, set him on fire, and then someone goes picks him up, and he's like, what are you doing?
You're on fire. You don't want you kids to set on fire too. Fuck you. Burn this motherfucker. We don't need people like this in my room. This is what you say on the first date, don't you? I imagine you saying this to a girl.
No. I bet you he opens with the whelmed arguments. Like, so it's like, why are people always underwhelmed or overwhelmed? Never just whelmed. That's exactly what Bryan would say because he just loves Young Justice.
Instantly, she's
This
like,
one is good, yeah.
she's
The
like,
warm ones.
let's get the check. I want you so bad right now.
I'm so glad.
I'm so whelmed.
I do believe my dates are memorable. They never forget.
Oh yeah.
For
Let's
one
hear
reason
it.
or another.
Right. Give us
Sometimes-
give
sometimes
us an example of what a date with Bryan is like.
Sometimes it's not best to be never forget, because we never forget Hitler. It's not
And you
the
made a
best
lot
thing.
of parallels last time.
So you're saying it's not always best to not be forgotten based on your notoriety.
Right, Bryan. Let's hear some of
I think
your date stories.
what I guess I focus on is novelty. You know?
Novelty.
Novelty, yeah, like something that you would remember. Like I'm not a fan of like dinners and movies or coffee dates.
Oh, okay. So where do you take them?
Well, one of them, my plan was
Don't say library.
don't say library. Well, no.
You've done that?
I didn't do library, but I did the university. We
Okay, well, if you're already at the
we,
university.
Well, we didn't. No, we went to the university as a date.
Wait,
What did you do? So you weren't attending the university.
No.
You just physically went to the university.
Yes.
Okay.
You're right.
I think
Well,
I want.
was she a student?
No, no. Both of us were not students. We were graduated. Like, we're well in our adulthood.
No,
we
what
were
did
working
you,
and stuff.
What did you do at university?
Well, okay. Well, the university, you think about it, has everything, right? It has internet. Like, you can log into the public Wi-Fi.
Yes.
So
it
you
has
have-
everything for
yeah.
students.
Well, even for guests, like internet's there, like food's there, right? There's a lot of like art. There's a lot of, like.
So what you're
Like
trying
you
to
could
say?
do like you discover like it's like a mall, but like they're not selling you anything. You could like
Yeah, but you realize you're setting a precedence that you are cheap as fuck, right?
Wait, so where did you specifically did you take her then to see
I
at the
think we were just
university?
well at the time.
Like you didn't just go to like skating or something.
Oh yeah, there was skating too.
Okay, that
Yeah,
makes sense.
Okay, that makes more sense. But why did you go to the library?
No, we didn't. I didn't go to the
So what
library.
did you
We
what
went
did
to
you do at the university?
We watched movies. We watched like we had a laptop and stuff. We watched because at the time I didn't have my own place.
Oh, okay.
So we just needed somewhere private.
And
And
she
the
liked-
university, there's a lot of empty rooms.
She
So
liked
you went
this.
to the library in the back.
What did she think about this?
Oh, it was good.
What date was this? Was this like the first date? Was this? I understand
I
if it
think
was a
it's
date
probably
later.
like a fifth date. Like it's
Okay,
kind of
okay. Thank God.
That's very different from what we were thinking. We were thinking first date, and she's like, oh yeah, so I just met you. Why don't we hit up the youth?
Should we even ask what the first 4 dates was?
Yeah. Okay. What? Yeah,
Oh, well,
First
the
date.
first one. This was a blind date. So,
Okay.
the first one was very traditional, just because I didn't know her, she didn't know me.
So,
So we played it safe, like it was just like a breakfast or a coffee kind of thing,
Oh, okay.
and just at the mall or whatever. The second date, I realized my first date was kind of crummy, so the second date
Kicked it up a notch.
I kicked it up a notch. Yeah, so I did some research to figure out what are good first dates. So
Uh-huh.
then I decided we would do like this TELUS convention, or this adults night for like science team. kind
Oh,
of thing.
okay.
Okay, that's good.
And it was about mixology, so it was like just alcohol and stuff. I didn't realize she was a alcoholic, so she was like. I found this out during.
And you still went on 5 dates?
Yeah.
Like, as in like alcoholic, as in not like.
Did you
know,
did
the
your
overdo-
mind go like it'll work out? Like she'll stop drinking.
Like-
Well, I was drinking too, so my judgment may have been
Oh,
impaired.
was she actually like an alcoholic with a problem, or just someone that's like, I'm an alcoholic?
It's the latter. She enjoys drinking. She's not.
Oh, so
not
that-
really.
Okay. I thought you were like, oh yeah, fucking.
I thought you were like,
No.
I've been trying to be
hyperbole.
sober for 7 years, and you take me through this.
So, okay. Christ is Reddit, that's just a misuse of the term.
She enjoyed drinking.
She
a
enjoyed
lot.
it. Oh, she liked that date then.
Yeah, she did. She liked
Okay.
it. It was-
I thought that was a
But it was also
monumental fuck up.
it was also like something that she would never have done.
First date.
She's just like, I just got my 90-day pin, and this guy, he takes me on a date. He's like, yeah, it's a mixology.
Fuck
thing."
you.
He's like, what's mixology? I walked in and it's nothing but
You
alcohol.
wish it was 90 days. It'll be better. It was like 5 years sober until last night.
Oh, she has to call her sponsor. I was like, I'm so sorry.
He brought me to the house of temptation itself. Oh God. Okay. That's not bad. She liked it. It was creative, I would say.
Yeah, it ended very well.
very good.
Yeah.
What would you say would be your worst date?
What would be
Or give us the quintessential B-Ride date. If you were like, if you were to like write about your like a first date that you would want like the legends to be told about you.
Yeah,
What
well,
is the date?
something
I
novel.
I believe like dating, like let's say your first 3 dates, right?
Mhm.
I believe there is some strategy to it.
Mhm.
Your first date should be something that you're very comfortable with.
Oh yeah.
Second date generally should be something active, and then the third date would be something like fancy, like a fancy dinner or something like that.
Oh really? So you go that right? So most people would go the fancy first, right? They would go fancy first, and
You would-
then.
oh yeah.
And
Why-
then
why
I don't
would-
know, just
why that?
like if some people want to impress them. I'm not saying this is the right thing to do. I think
Mhm.
most people would do it in the other order where they take them somewhere. It doesn't even have to be fancy, but it's like something that would impress the date on the
I think
first
that's
date.
the worst way to go.
It probably is.
That's just a really high
I would
expectation.
I would also agree that it is the worst way to go, but most people do it that way. but it's I guess your way would make sense more, where both people are comfortable, and then later on, you know, like, oh yeah, this is a girl that. Girl or guy.
We don't discriminate.
Yeah, we don't discriminate. Girl, guy, and
don't
whatever.
forget that cue, right?
Yeah, it cost you a lot last time. You got the cue. So yeah. Once you're like, oh, you know, we have a good time together. Yeah, I take her out to somewhere fancier, right? It's worth it.
Yeah, I think you want to build up to it for sure.
It does make more sense. People should do that more often.
So I think it's better just to decide. I don't know. That's how I do it. I decide all the time.
You decide all the time.
Well, no, unless they have a decision. If they come up with a decision and say, let's go there, then I'll be like, yes, let's go.
Oh.
But I decide until she says something.
Right.
That's I make the offer. If she says no, then I make another offer until she says yes, right? And then she says yes.
Well, she just says no for
communication.
This is sales here.
No, I just go like, hey, I'm going to go here to eat. And then he's like, do you want to make it a date? And then if they say no, and then it's like, I don't know, I'm still going.
So you're not like...
Wait, so you're like pitching people, it's like, oh, it's like, let's go out for a walk. It's like, yeah, it's a date now.
Well, no, the thing is, like, I'm going to do my thing, right? And then you join me. And then if you don't want to join me, then I know where we're at.
Well, the way I see, like, you know how, like, when dates...
I don't know, that's how I do it. I'm kind of a selfish person, though.
When I say, like, with dates, like, people say, like, is this a date or not a date? I generally go with the 3P rule. So it's planned, pick up, and pay. So if you planned the date, you picked her up, and you paid for it, it's like almost basically a date, right?
I heard plant.
Oh, plant. No, plan.
Say that again. What?
Planned, pick up,
Okay.
and paid. Like you would pay
What is
for
pick up?
like pick her up.
Oh,
Like you would pick her up from her house or.
I don't know.
What if she doesn't let you?
Well, like if you meet somewhere, then it's a little bit more ambiguous, right? But if you planned it and you picked her up and you paid for it, like there's no way she could be like, this is not a date. Like we're just friends, right? Like it should be pretty obvious that would have been a date.
I don't know. I think
Some girls might still not get that.
Some might not still, but I generally believe that's close enough.
Imagine
Why
you have
would
to
just
like.
assume that they're all dates?
You could do
No,
that
no,
too.
no, that's a dangerous
Cause
assumption.
That's
some
also a
girls-
dangerous assumption.
They won't assume that. If they don't assume that, but you assume that, it could cause, you know, it could be
Well, because
pretty
then
awkward.
your feelings aren't the same way.
I assume that you asked her out.
No, the best way to do it is you get her to
yeah.
sign a waiver form. She acknowledges that this is a date of the,
Don't we all do this?
of the term, and you define the term date in there as well.
I
Thereafter known as date.
So like
Clause 1, this is a date, thereafter known as a date.
you like send them a text like, hey, you want to go out? And she says yes, and then it's like a term and condition agreement
Yeah,
comes
yeah.
up, and then she has to like hit accept. It's just all these fine
That is
prints.
the way to get
We
out.
read the fine print, women, okay? Because on mine, it says sex on the end, okay? So...
My God, you know how easy life would be if relationships were binary like that?
Or legally enforced as well. You take it to the small claims
I
court.
I was promised a date, and yet no one came home with me.
She signed it knowingly that it was a date.
She wore sweats to my date. Not appropriate.
Not in our agreement.
This is, this is why the feminists exist to stop
Oh
people.
shit, we just offended
Yeah,
a ton
we're gonna
No,
get
because
some
it
tweets.
would also work the same way with them. I guess they would send an agreement to the guy.
Yeah, it would be like you have to like dress up and.
You know what? They might. Okay, it shouldn't be an agreement. It should be a contract.
Or
With two parties'
And
signatures
get your
required.
lawyer
So
to
then-
look at it.
So then, what would be like the realtor version of it? Like, would you have an agent that like,
This
so let me handle this contract for you?
You would love this society, wouldn't you? I think you're getting a boner right now from this society. This is like your dream society.
So you would talk to a girl and you get her number and you're like, great, I'll send my agent
Like
to
you
talk to
would
your
never
agent.
be able to get like a mixed signal. It's like, oh no, she's definitely into me as per our agreement.
I have an email attachment saying you're into me.
I have a written document saying you are into me.
You would have a clause, right? If on that
I think
first
you
date
guys are.
contract.
I think you guys are too worried about if they are into you.
No. At this point, we're letting go of all
because
sanity.
I think everyone should live life as in if you were into them.
I think everybody should live life in this fucking high contract legal.
It doesn't matter if they're into you. There's a contract saying that they should be.
All relationships are legally binding.
We just wanted to make.
Like
All of our
contract,
transactions. You have a receipt. Also for a receipt of acknowledgement from the other party. This is the way to go. Everything.
We just want to
documented.
reduce ambiguity to 0.
Absolute to 0.
So this first date contract would have 2 clauses, right? And basically, the first clause would probably be like, if you're no longer interested in pursuing a romantic relationship after the first date, then you must give me 3 days notice.
Yeah, 3 days notice for whatever amount, and if it is more than that, like you list the exceptions, like family illness, like extraneous circumstances to end the relationship before the period. Yes, the period of notification, and then 15 working days notification for each breakup, and then you get to appeal it at a higher court. You state your grounds.
This would cure the issue of ghosting.
This
It's the
would-
new phenomenon.
Oh yeah, this
It's
would solve.
happening.
I don't think that's a new phenomenon. What are you talking about, new phenomenon? Like, you don't think that people, like, maybe, like, in the 60s or 40s even, just up and disappeared one day? It's like, oh, I guess he went to go fight the war.
That happen all the time. Who's my dad? I don't fucking know.
He ghosted me.
He goes. This is the idea.
This should have been the first podcast.
Yeah, the bonus episode gets way more meat.
That was the bonus, wasn't it? This is the real one.
It doesn't matter what is what.
When are we?
Halloween is coming up.
You don't have to worry.
You know what? Less people are trick or treating door to door.
Yeah, because they all go to the malls nowadays.
I know. Why is that?
Oh.
I don't know.
I always buy these candies and they're always left over. I mean, it's
then
not
you
bad.
eat them.
I'll eat them all, but like, I always buy them because like I want to see. I'm not a pedophile, guys, but I want to see like
What a
people-
strange end of Like you're just like sweating from people like not a pedophile.
What is your statistics? Like how many?
I am Bryan. I'm not a pedophile.
Oh, Bryan would fit.
Well, there would be 2 conditionals, right? For why, or 2 conditions for why you probably have less trick-or-treaters. And one would possibly be that there's just, your whole area is growing up, right? Like I experienced that over in my past community.
The adultification of the neighborhood.
Yeah. In which basically like when we
My
moved in there, it
community
was
is
new.
still fairly new. I see kids, but even my sister, we're in the same community. They bring their kids to the mall. It's just I don't know. It's just like the thing now.
Is it?
Yeah.
Do you think
It's
it's safety? Like.
It's
is-
probably more
I don't know.
concentrated too. Like the mall, you gotta think about the mall is you're out of the cold. All the stores are there, so close to each other. You get a big cluster of candies you can go through, right? And then I guess you get a better time because everybody, the mall itself is decorated, and I don't know, it's basically there for your freaking
But I just-
entertainment, satisfaction.
I don't know. I just remembered like when.
I think it
was a
might
kid.
have to be more of a.
I don't know.
weather.
When I was a kid, I
we were
remember
young.
garbage
Was-
bags.
Yeah.
Full of
Yeah.
it, like couple of garbage bags.
Yep.
full of it,
Yeah.
right?
I guess-
Pillowcases,
And then you
garbage
bring
bags.
an extra costume and you go again.
It's possible that some people just aren't handing out candy anymore, but the malls are, or it's easier on the parent
Yeah, I think
taking
it-
the kids
Well,
just to go.
I
Do you
think
look.
think it'd be
it's
weird
easier.
if I went to the mall and I set up a stand and just handed out candy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
would be
Well,
weird.
you know what? If
I
you
like to be festive.
I mean, you might as well just do it in a parking lot. What would stop you? Like, it was just like a van in a
Hey,
parking
kids.
lot. There's more inside if you want.
More inside.
You have the van. It's just like I'm just a minivan owner. Oh, sorry, not even a van. Just a van owner here, guys. Don't mind me, but get it in.
It's the new caravan movement.
Oh man.
Mein Führer.
Oh
Okay.
Jesus.
That went bad. I thought that was a very, peaceful talk there. Kids.
I think you had to add in the little fact that you're not a pedophile, by the way. I think everything was smooth up until that.
As soon as I say I want little kids to come and pick up candy, they're gonna be like, "What the fuck?"
No, it's Halloween. People understand. The context is already there. It's not like the middle of July. And you're like, "Hey kids, come over to my house. I got a lot of candy."
It's like that scene, Good Idea, Bad Idea from Animaniacs. Good idea, passing out candy in Halloween. Bad idea, passing out candy in July.
Just in the back of your van.
Yeah, you know, mobile. You don't want to be mobile.
Unmarked vans. Oh my god, if Bryan buys it.
I didn't realize that's a trend now. Kids go to the mall, like.
Yeah,
Apparently it is. Yeah.
So do you find that houses, like your neighbors, don't pass out candies then? They just don't
I
see
do.
worth it?
I don't care if they do. Again, I'm a very selfish person. I don't really care what other people do.
Okay.
I don't know. I know
Because they do affect you, right? Because if your neighbors don't pass, kids might not want to walk your block.
Well, I know
'Cause
my
it's
kid
like-
is going also to the mall, so it's I don't know. It just seems like that's the place to be.
Fuck, it doesn't matter. If no kids
I don't
come
know.
over.
I think it's also the fact that over here in the Great White North, it's quite cold most of the time
Yeah.
around.
Right, but I do still see houses being decorated, so I still have faith that people are passing out candy.
Yes, I
Yeah.
kind of
But
semi-decorated my house.
I think it's a dying art at this point.
Oh,
Well, it
yeah.
just seems like I don't know. I don't know. It's just tradition, I guess. Different people have different traditions, right? Like
Yeah.
I mean, I like to be festive. I do Christmas and I do Halloween and stuff like that.
Well, even
Not that
Christmas-
I'm a believer of anything. I just like to decorate.
Just for the hell of it.
Yeah.
You
just-
believe in Halloween?
Actually, do you
The
guys
great
know
pumpkin
where
king.
Halloween came from?
Do enlighten us.
Oh,
It
isn't
was the pagans, basically, and then the Irish.
Ooh,
The Irish.
Can we
brought it.
trust the pagans?
Well, actually, no. I mean, like Christianity Christianity.
Those damn pagans.
Christianity and Catholic, they had to at one point consume. I mean, like adapt to a lot
Yes,
of
the damn pagans and their
But they didn't like
polytheist.
the pagans. They,
No, but
they
there was
viewed
so
the
much of them, they had to adopt some of their.
Never trust a polytheist.
And then
isn't like everything paganism?
for Americans, the Irish brought it over because there was a big influx of Irish immigrants during I don't know what time, I can't name it.
They got I think in Mexico they celebrate differently. This is a Day of the Dead or something. Some Latin American countries.
Actually, I was looking at it. It was actually kind of cool. There's a couple of different countries they do Halloween differently. If you would like to Google it, I don't have a phone.
I trust you.
But like, yeah, I don't remember what they do though. But they do it differently. They don't just dress up. Some of them they don't handle candy. Some of them they do other things. I don't know what it is. I believe the Swedish do it differently, or whatever.
Never trust the Swedish. They do everything too efficiently. Like they probably just mail everyone candy.
Actually, that would be interesting. But unfortunately, Canada Post is on strike, so your candy would be delayed. Like that chocolate bar might have melted.
You know, I don't think people would trust candy in the mail. Just from a random, like from your neighbor, I guess. Just like this is weird, right?
Yeah, I mean, I could see the origin of this, especially because some Latin American countries, some other countries, they celebrate it. I think, do they celebrate? Is it like the Day of like the Dead or like spirits or
Well,
some shit
basically,
like that?
it's winter's coming. So basically,
Oh, so it's like Game of Thrones sort of deal.
Yeah, basically what it
Everyone
came
dress
from
up
is
as
the
a
Day
next
of the
time.
Dead, like you said. It is last day of
The White Walkers are coming.
Yeah, the White Walkers are coming.
So now we have Halloween.
So like basically, I don't know if they exactly dress up like they might have. I don't know, but like, well, dressing up, I think they did to scare off the demons or something. That's the pagan way, I guess.
The pagans.
Costumes.
Never trust the pagans.
You know, a lot of Christianity had to adopt a lot of pagan stuff.
That's why I'm not a Christian.
Those
Yeah.
goddamn polytheists and monotheists. All theists.
Don't trust
And
anyone.
also atheists, I assume.
Don't trust anyone that can believe in a god.
Just the atheist model.
Or am I?
Can't wait for the. you're gonna come up with the next revolution.
So
Don't believe in anything.
so in the malls, as soon as Halloween's over, they start putting Christmas
Yes.
decoration. So is that the time to put up like Christmas trees in front of the house?
No,
Like after
that's for the
Halloween.
malls.
bit early.
For you?
For my own house.
Yeah, man. Yeah, fucking put up the reefs in early March and just leave it there.
Yeah, you might as well just be that guy, the one that leaves the lights on.
I
all
am
year.
that guy.
You-
Well, I was for a while. I put on lights and I didn't take it down.
Yeah,
for,
nothing
like, 2
against
years.
those people, but you'd just be one of those guys.
That's why I don't
Oh,
even
yeah.
put up anything anymore. I do whatever.
Well, I like the reef thing, but I was wondering when's the most appropriate time.
Anytime. Anytime at all.
Anytime you deem appropriate.
Does it matter?
The only thing I think
Why
that
does it
matters
matter
is
so much?
Halloween.
Why does it matter?
That's the
I
one
do
you gotta
think
be
that.
careful.
No. Just just leave all your Halloween decorations up.
I don't think it doesn't matter in any sense, but I don't want to offend anyone, I suppose.
Well, I guess.
I don't
people
know who would get
offended
offended.
easily these days.
Oh man, there's probably some guy like on a Twitter rant like my neighbor hasn't taken enough his Christmas decorations for 3 weeks.
Time to kill him.
That is absurd.
Time to shame him until he passively aggressively shame him.
Bryan would not be shamed. Impervious to shame.
But he's a minimalist.
You.
Minimalist.
Yeah, minimal.
What is not everyone here a minimalist?
No.
Did you guys hear about the small houses thing?
Less small.
Oh yeah.
People living in mini houses. It's like the trend or whatever.
It's weird though, because they cost more than making a regular house. Or
In
cost-
Canada. In Canada, apparently, it's visible in like warmer countries. I mean, warmer areas, I guess.
More
but
populous area.
yeah, but it's become a trend, so people in Canada want to do it too. Like,
Because
they want to live in small.
We
little
want to be
tiny houses.
trendy. Well, it will prepare us for overpopulation.
Well, no, they don't know.
We're
they,
quite a ways away
A
from
lot of
that.
people purchase these houses because they're like 30 grand, right? You can buy a house for 30 grand or something like that, right? And
Yeah.
they're like, oh, it's such a good saving, and then they realize the house gets cold.
And
it's actually hard to warm up because a boiler does not fit in one of those little tiny
Can't you
houses.
just use like a space heater? Or is there no electricity?
I don't know what you're.
Or
doing.
maybe you don't
But
have
they're
enough
saying
electricity running
it
through your
costs
house.
it costs so much money to heat your house because it's such a tiny home.
Oh, because it doesn't insulate well.
I guess it doesn't insulate well. I don't know.
Well-
But you're basically buying another house on top of that in order to heat warm your house.
If we want to take this a step further, isn't Hong Kong known for coffin apartments?
Oh, they're so small.
Yeah, it's just for your body. And
Yes, for
Depends.
overpopulation.
Depends how much money you. have.
Actually, no.
And you gotta share utilities, right? Like
Yeah,
washrooms and
that
kitchen.
that shit is actually artificial. Hong Kong does have the land for you to build more apartments, so you don't have to live in a little 4x4 square.
Right.
But they do it.
Like people
because-
want to live in coffins.
No, people don't ever want to live in those little shitholes.
They live to live.
But
in
it's like they can only afford that, right? Because the prices are artificially driven up. That's
I'm
why.
just gonna go with they're addicted to living in small spaces.
Yeah.
No, just kidding.
Yeah,
No,
but
they
I
just-
think
they
I
wanna-
think you're
they
right.
wanna
They're-
We're
encourage-
gonna have to post a confirmed on they like living in small places.
But it's
They
I-
claim that a lot of land is not usable, and I don't know if that's true. I don't want to
It's-
say.
But you can
It's
tell,
not
you can
true.
you can see it on satellite imaging. Like we have images.
Yeah, you can't satellite image if a land is like too soft to put.
No.
actual
It's
concrete.
it's all good. It's all perfect land to develop. The reason why they not is because the property develop the developer, the tycoons, they have a lot of money in real estate in Hong Kong. So they don't want to see the prices go down. So this is artificial. This supply glut is artificial.
It's like diamonds.
It is like diamonds. Real estate in Hong Kong is just like diamonds. Diamonds are kept artificially high, the prices. Hong Kong property is artificially high as well.
But isn't Hong Kong also one of those areas that don't collect taxes?
Yeah. So
Very-
a lot of it,
So they're also driven by that. Then I would say.
like there's no, yeah, like
By what?
Because if you don't collect taxes, then for like the government of Hong Kong, they probably made a lot of money through land.
through land sales,
Selling
and
land,
through
right.
land rent. Yeah,
I see.
but
Because they have to make
fuck
them
it, I
in some
think
way.
Hong Kong, they do have to pay some kind of tax, but I remember it's really low.
Yeah, it's really low.
It's really low.
Yeah. Because
Most
Yeah,
of their earnings actually go back to them.
Yeah,
I
the
had
government
a-
gets the money from the land.
I had a date with a girl from Singapore, and her biggest complaint working here was taxes.
I would imagine most people would complain about that. Unless they're Sweden, I guess. If they're Swedish, they'll be. Actually, they wouldn't complain. They wouldn't even come over here. They got a really good
Well, yeah, they
pension.
wouldn't.
They'll pay.
Where
They'll
they're
pay
living is
50%
amazing.
tax.
Yeah.
They like it there. It works for them. If it works, then then people are willing to pay it if they can get some. They actually get something out of it. If you pay a lot of tax and you get nothing out of it, that's when people get pissed off, right?
Oh, yeah, because you feel like the money's not going anywhere. Or,
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. But yeah, that's all that shit is artificial. Like, people don't. The majority of people do not want to live in a small coffin house.
What?
What?
This is news.
But here's another thing. Why do people own houses? Like, I feel like that's the North American
You
idea.
probably feel like nobody should own houses.
No,
People should
no. He feels like everyone should own a house that is just like room, kitchen.
No. I think renting is a very economical thing.
Not
Yes and no.
not if it's exploited to the point where like the renters.
It depends on your situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, but with modern times, people's situation changes so often, right? That
Yeah,
it's
but
almost,
you can't broad generation, like you can't broad us all. Like I mean,
General,
but it
broad
means,
generalize.
like I mean, like me, I think for my situation right now, I think I'd be better owning a house than renting a house, right?
Mhm.
And then for other people, maybe a different story, right?
Right.
So like you can't say that just for everybody.
But I do feel like a lot of people tend to see owning as a way better option when renting sometimes is like
Depends on the situation.
Yeah,
Like if your
everyone's
city,
financials are different.
like if your
Everyone's-
city renting is relatively cheap, yes, I agree. I totally agree. Rent, right? But then if your city happens to be like, I want to say Edmonton's rent is fairly expensive. Calgary's actually a little bit more.
well,
expensive.
I'm thinking more like comparing like Europe. Like in Europe, owning houses is almost unfathomable, right? Like everyone almost.
Okay, well you
like,
can't
family
say
rents.
Europe towards Canada, right?
But that's the thing. I feel like in North America, it's a mentality to own, whereas in
It's-
Europe, it's all mentality to rent.
I think a lot of it
Okay.
has to do with like the way these things develop. In Europe, a lot of landowners back then, they were big landowners, like nobility, right? So a lot of Europe's history was nobility owns the land. Everybody basically either rents it or tills it for them, right? So, but in Canada, U.S., the whole reason people came here because this was technically, quote unquote, unclaimed. This is new land.
New land.
So you can come here and own a piece of land. You're not nobility. You used to be, I don't know, fucking a peasant back in Europe. You come over here, you can own land, right? And that's where people. You have your own farm. You have your own land. You own till it, and then this is how it kind of grew up. Like people now it's like, oh, you want to have a house. You want to have the big lawn, the big property or whatever, right? It's just different from Europe.
Yeah, it also depends on which time of era you're born. If you're during the Depression, where houses are like worth nothing or whatever, right? Then yeah, renting would be way better than owning the fucking house that's worth $1, right? So
Yeah, like
it
okay,
really-
if they're both the same price, if it costs you as much to rent a house as it is to buy a house, to own it, most people would buy it outright if the price was the same.
Yeah, correct.
Right?
Because you have asset. Like,
Yeah, exactly. So you're not just paying someone else. Yeah, you're gonna own it.
Yeah.
So usually it's just the price difference where like, if it costs way too much to own, yeah, you will rent because you have nothing else to. You don't have a hope of owning it, and then if you want to be like more like mobile, right? If you want to like not be as so like you're not settling in somewhere and putting down roots. You just want to work someplace for a year or 2 years, go around. Yeah, you're renting, right?
I think in Canada, in Calgary's situation, it is in that point right now where it's kind of equal. Renting or owning, you're paying the same amount. So it's technically, you're not. It doesn't matter which way you go. Like, well, I mean, it does. Like owning the property would probably be better because I think property is still going up right now, isn't it? Like, I mean, it went down for a little bit, going up now. Or,
Yeah, I mean,
Well, the idea is that when you own a property, because you're owning it the assumption is you're owning it for a long time. So on average, there is a trend.
well, what I'm
upwards.
saying is the amount of rent is so high in Calgary. Like, I mean, I used to rent my house out, and it's not that big, but I could rent it for more than my mortgage, right? So it's paying for itself, and I'm getting money off of it, right? I mean, I don't know. So I mean, I was earning money off of it, and then whereas
Not entirely true.
well, I have to pay
After property
I have
tax
to
and
pay
stuff.
property
Yeah,
tax.
And
There's-
house insurance,
But
you're in the red.
I was kind of enough to pay most of my property tax because it was more than
Yeah.
my actual mortgage, right, per month. But then, I don't know, it kind of works out itself, right? So you,
It's
you
just-
lose a little bit, but
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
at
You
the
gain,
end of
you
the day,
gain
you're
equity,
gaining
but you're paying
equity.
like a really
Yeah,
small
at
amount.
the
But
end of the
regardless,
day,
you
you're
still have to
ending-
pay the mortgage, so it helps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah.
So you're making that extra paycheck. You can see it as, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, I mean, it's income that you have to claim because taxes is stupid.
And people want to own shit because, you know, like after that you own it. It's yours. Land, that is like one thing that will never, well, not say never, but it's real. It won't change, right? You own a piece of land. That land's yours.
Unless you're Detroit.
Yeah, well, either way, like the land. Yeah, you're really fucked if you're in Detroit right now. But land is land, right?
I mean, it's happened. I've heard it's happened in Canada, like where just property went down so low, it's like $1. People are like selling their property for $1 for someone else to take over the mortgage, kind of. So yeah, I don't know. It might happen again, but it doesn't look like it with where we're going, anyways, right now.
Yeah, but okay. The thing about land is like, land is one of those things that you can, that is at its very base can sustain you if you ever really had to go that far down, right? Like that's what land does. That's why land was forever the most valuable resource you can have, aside from
Arable land.
gold, arable land. But even like, yeah, arable land is the most valuable. But you know, like fucking desert land, you can extract some kind of value.
Sorry,
from
what's
it as
arable
well.
land?
Like land you can farm, you can cultivate,
I
you
see.
can develop.
Got it.
Have you guys
Right.
heard of this thing? We no longer own the minerals of the land or something like that.
Oh, it's always like that. Like you
Oh,
buy the
has it
surface
always
rights.
been like
Yeah.
that? I
Yeah.
heard some guys talking about it, but I wasn't interested.
It's not like they
were-
took away the mineral. No, the mineral rights. Some people do own the minerals. Like some people.
But I was told that was grandfathered. It's like you have to own a land that was.
Yeah, that has the
that has
mineral
the
rights.
mineral
Otherwise,
rights.
it's all crown,
Yeah.
right? Everybody, when they buy, you buy like a house somewhere in the city, you own the surface rights and everything on that,
Mm.
right? Everything downstairs, you know, not downstairs, like everything beneath the ground after that is not owned by you.
So what happens if you say buy a plot of land and you build a house on it, and then there's like oil underneath it?
You
Like-
get paid as a surface. They have to pay you surface royalties.
But like, I mean, what if
Well,
I
not
don't
really.
want a drill behind my on my backyard?
What they do is like.
I think you would just move out.
No, what they do is like they won't allow they drill horizontal wells, so then you won't even see like a well
yeah, but
on
what
your
if my
property.
land sinks?
It won't sink.
They're not sucking.
You're not sucking the earth.
groundwater.
It's not. Yeah. Yeah.
But actually, there's a place in South America where they have such an issue with water
Yeah.
that they started taking groundwater
Yeah.
from the city to
Yeah.
the point where the city started sinking and created.
Yeah, they're
issues.
doing it differently for oil though. They're pumping water in to get the oil.
Yeah, they're doing it different with oil, but with this city, it actually sunk, and then roads were like.
Well, yeah,
really,
that depends on like
warped.
the land over there too. Like if I don't say like if I don't think if you pump that much of the water table out, I don't think your city where we're living at would sink that much.
I think it's the way that those people built the city, because a lot of people they built like right beside the water. I mean, cities
Yeah.
right beside the water.
Right beside the
And
river
then-
banks and shit like
I mean,
that.
it goes underneath the city, right? I mean, I think. Don't quote me on this, because I know someone's gonna be really mad. But like
No one-
Mayans, maybe? I don't know. But like they built in, they
Blame the
built
Mayans.
in the moss or whatever on the water as a defense thing or something.
Okay, yeah, so that's
So,
really
like,
shitty base.
That's kind of like, isn't it? That kind of how the whole everything started, kind of thing, where they start building on water, kind of thing. Like it's a lot of people from that area, like all major cities, kind of.
Yeah, they would build near water, but
Yeah.
they would build usually like it's not like the city will sink in, right?
Well, no, they built in the like lake or whatever.
No, they would build
put-
around the.
No, they put like tree stumps all the way into the soil, and they compound it down with rocks and whatever to make a platform to build on top of the lake. So there's actually
What, he's just saying like a specific group of people? Like
I think it's the Mayans.
oh,
I'm
them.
sure.
Okay, yeah.
But
no.
I'm not sure. I think it's the Mayans.
No, most people just built near a river because that's where you get your.
But that's what I'm
fresh
saying.
water.
It's like really far back, and then I guess maybe
I don't know why.
those people
I don't
passed
know why
on.
it's that.
These delinquent motorcycle gangs have gone too far.
I don't know. I might be way far fetched. Probably way far fetched.
Let us just peddle all kinds of conspiracies.
Conspiracies. Aliens. Let's talk about aliens.
We don't
Because it's
talk-
Halloween.
No, it has nothing to do with aliens.
Well, they're kind of monsters, sort of say.
I don't think the alien is a popular costume at Halloween right nowadays.
No.
Depends which alien.
Which
Maybe
alien?
like ET would be kind of popular, maybe.
Predator?
You don't think the alien from Alien is popular?
I think that's a,
That one's way
that's a
too
lot of
far.
work for a costume.
That is a lot of
Yeah,
work.
it's true.
Predator might be easier. Just put on a mask.
Yeah, that's
Get
true.
some
And like a
dreadlocks.
weird like fishnet thing. Yeah, like is that?
And then get surgery to make your mouth.
No, that's what the mask is for.
Oh yeah, that sounds simple. You just get the surgery.
They'll be really surprised when you take off the mask.
Why
Ah,
did you take off the mask?
Yeah, that would end your life. Surgery.
Or it'll make your life more enjoyable.
I don't even know how to eat with that mouth.
They even eat so much faster. Look how it opens way
How do you
wider.
chew? How do you not like?
You just
all your
swallow.
shit would just
You don't
fall out.
chew,
No,
you
no,
just
no.
swallow.
The small problem is that you don't have muscles like here.
Well,
Like,
they,
if you're
could, they could
looking-
have little like teeth that like spirals in,
Blah 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 blah.
and then like the food just like gets grinded down or something.
Have you ever seen a crab eat? I don't think they're the most efficient eater.
Well, it'd be like,
shit falls out all the time.
It would be like in Annihilation.
It's
with
like
those-
mandibles. I don't think mandibles are like the most efficient. I can't,
No. I'm saying like their throat system. Like remember in Annihilation with the like they had the spiraling teeth stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, it could be like that.
No.
Like the mouth could be like filled with like little tiny teeth that just like.
But how do we get this?
Oh, how do we get this?
Because like, this is what we're talking about. Like,
We need to find a shimmer and spend some time.
Oh
there.
God.
Is there actually an animal that opens their mouth that way?
I think
Like
some, like,
sideways?
Yeah.
crustaceans do.
Yeah.
Like the crab has two mandibles, right? And then
Well,
Or
it's
maybe
like a-
insects. Like it's an insect.
Maybe
like
some insects.
Mantis and stuff.
yeah.
The reason I'm asking that is because that specific mouth, I guess, it's also like that. I guess that direction of opening mouth is also in Resident Evil, right? Some of the
It's just
zombies-
scary.
Some
People
of the
think it's
zombies, when
scary.
they evolve, they just open sideways for some reason. Their mouth that opens normally no longer is good enough, so they have to open sideways because it's more efficient. That
Not
is
efficient,
that
it
is
is
the
what's
more
more-
efficient of eating people.
No, it isn't. It's a more fucked up way. The people are scared of that.
No, they're talking about efficiency, obviously. Why would you mutate yourself?
Resident Evil is not anything about efficiency.
Efficiency of eating people. That's the way.
If anything, the game was scary. Like the first couple games were scary because it was so inefficient. Because your controls barely work. Your character wouldn't
Well,
respond
you could
the way-
kill them much easier if they're inefficient, right? Well, once they become efficient of eating people, then you go like, oh, they're getting wings, their mouth opens sideways. That's a second upgrade, by the way.
I don't understand. I don't understand what's happening anymore.
wait. To speak about Resident Evil, you know, like that one scene with the laser grid
Yeah,
from
yeah.
the first movie. Like it's probably the most famous scene from that movie, right?
Yeah.
I noticed that. Like they show the girl, right? She's staring right at this laser beam coming at her,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then they pan over to like they cut to another shot of the laser beam. Then they cut back to her, but this woman has taken her eyes away from the laser beam so that she could look back at the laser beam. Like, oh shit, it's coming. And I'm just like, what? What kind of acting or directing?
So
is this?
she acknowledged the beam, then she looked back and she's like, oh, I acknowledged it again.
And then like looked shocked as it was coming to decapitate her. Yes, I
It's
didn't
like, oh
understand.
man, it's coming. Oh my god, it's coming.
Yes.
She had to confirm.
When they wrote the movie, they weren't thinking they were gonna get an Oscar. This was not some Academy Award.
I was really
movie.
surprised that kept going, like seven
Yeah.
long.
Is it only 7 movies?
I'm thinking 7. I made that number up. I'm not exactly
It's a lot.
It was a lot. Yeah.
Imagine you can rate your movie just based on how many movies sequels are made of it. Like obviously this has to be good because they made 7 movies. People kept on coming back for this.
On Netflix, there's Scary Movie. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah,
Scary
yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's quite a few movies. I didn't even know.
There's a
But it doesn't even
five of them.
compare.
There's about 5 of them.
Too Fast and the Furious.
Well, there's 8, so obviously it's bad.
But which variation is it by 8? Is it Fast 8? Furious 8? Not
Oh,
so
no.
Furious 8? Like, I don't even know anymore.
I just love that one movie. I forget which Fast Furious movie it was, but it was Vin Diesel. He's getting married to his the girl in the movie, and then at the wedding ceremony, it's just him wearing like a white wife beater and some like white khakis, and it's like this is the nicest that you can dress up as.
What a gentleman.
That is a $10,000 white beater. You don't know your shit, man.
Who would want to make this? Who would want to wear this?
1,000 cotton threads.
He's like, you know, like, come on, man, it's a wedding. I know you like cars and shit, and you like to drive fast. But please, why?
Stitched together by 1,000 blind maids.
No, it was. This is a Walmart wife beater.
I remember in Scary Movie there was that really funny quote where like it's like those 2 black guys and they're just talking about something and it's like, oh, my aunt like turned up missing or something like that, and the guy's like, wait, but how does someone turn up missing? If you turn up, then you ain't missing. And if you're missing, then you ain't turning up.
Such philosophical debate.
It's a paradox.
Well, they ended the skit with, oh, that's some quantum shit, and then you're like, yeah, that is some quantum shit.
Scary Movie likewise was not
That guy
contending.
could be friends with Bryan.
Oh yeah.
Actually, Scary Movie, that genre is kind of like a compilation of other scary movies. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a parody movie.
It was a parody movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except that scene was not from any in particular. It was
That guy who wrote that line could be.
It's literally, I think you just snuck in, and I think you, Bryan, snuck in and just added that to the script.
From the future, just going back. We need this line. This will make the movie famous.
That's probably the best written line in that movie.
Yeah.
All right.
I think we're about it.
All right. Well, let's end it. All right. All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the bonus episode.
It was the real episode.
Yes. And it'll be a couple weeks before the regular cast comes in, so till then. Well, actually, man, one of them might come back sooner. Anyways, it's the Verbal
Depends on
Laxative.
when you release it.
Or it depends if I let them live. Verbal Laxative backup crew. Okay.
We prefer the term scabs.
The scabs. All right, everybody. Have a good one.